Good work on your paper. Your seminar is pretty strict, isn't it, Haruki-kun? I can't believe they're making you work almost all the way until the winter break. I still need to hand in assigned work every week, but they don't take more than a couple of hours. So I don't really have to deal with my seminar all that much right now. But honestly, that graduate thesis thing looks pretty daunting. There's always at least one person who fails to graduate each year. I've got to give it my all so I don't end up being that person. Speaking of which, have you decided on a topic for your thesis yet? This is the first time I've been given an assignment where I'm expected to come up with the topic and work on it independently. I feel like I've been thrown in at the deep end.
Yep, that sounds like a college thesis.
But knowing you, Haruki-kun, you'd feel like a fish in water, right? You don't only take classes seriously, Haruki-kun. You're also always so interested in the subject that you even study tons of stuff that doesn't appear in tests. I've always respected that about you. I'm actually really proud. Just kidding. You don't really think of it as anything special yourself. So me being proud sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Anyway, I'll be cheering you on. I'll text you again after your paper's done. That way, I'll be able to send something congratulatory next time. Talk to you soon. All done.
Let me take a look. Izumi, who has been sitting in front of me until now, lets out an inarticulate sound and dives onto my bed, as if recreating a scene out of an adulterous manga. The conclusion of the paper is visible on the laptop screen, signifying an end to the arduous battle that has lasted over 20 days. The last page seems to be in order, at least.
I can't use my head anymore. I can't move my body anymore either. I don't want to do anything for another month.
Stop swimming in my bed. She says she can't move, but she seems as energetic as ever. I scroll to the first page and start checking this paper that isn't mine. Whoa, it's only the cover page and I already see something wrong. There's no title, no cover, or even a name. It's completely blank.
I'll stop by sleeping a whole 24 hours. Then when I wake up, I'll eat until I can't eat anymore. And then, what should I do about the last of my 3 basic needs?
Toilet's through that door on your left.
Are you implying that my last basic need is either defecation or sexual desire?
I think both suit you just fine.
You mean you wouldn't mind if my moans were audible from in there?
Go home. A typo.
Don't be so cold, Haruki. We've been fighting it out and eating from the same pot through this 20-day war together as comrades, haven't we?
We only ate out of the same pot a total of 3 times, and I don't even have a choice in the matter. And fix up the line break here, and change the font size a little. Putting some emphasis on this part might work well.
What are you talking about? You're the only one that wanted me to hand in the paper in the first place, Haruki.
At least try to graduate, Miss University student. The list of references is all finished. Alright, all that's left is to save it. Power cuts out and save is corrupted. I guess that should do it. Yeah, you finished it.
Really?
I'll have to mess with the format a little. There doesn't seem to be any problem with the content at all. Nothing that I could find, at least. You're actually serious? I might think that you're making leaps in your logic here and there, but these old folk tales might not have been consistent logically in the first place. You certainly showed that you've done your research, and above all, it's an interesting read.
Wow, this is the first time you've ever actually praised me this much, Haruki.
A job well done, Izumi. And an impressive amount of effort, considering your usual self.
Yeah, nailed it.
Just because I say it's a pass doesn't mean it guarantees you won't be held back. The professor will be grading this, not me.
That's not all that important, really. Just having you acknowledge it already makes all the effort we've spent on it more than worthwhile, Haruki.
Izumi, I suppose she sounds more like a reformed delinquent. But I still feel deeply moved by it, if only a little. Wait, I just totally messed up my Japanese there. How can someone be deeply moved if only a little?
Oh boy! Now that my mind's at ease, all the energy has left my body. I can't use my head anymore. Can't move my body either.
I'm pretty sure you threw away all your energy and motivation well before you fell at ease. Still, I suppose I can acknowledge her efforts this time at least. No matter how hard I pressured her into doing it, she couldn't have finished it if she didn't have the dedication to do it so herself. She couldn't have finished it if she didn't have the dedication to do so herself. Even if her only driving force was not getting expelled.
Hey, Haruki, let's throw a party. You still have some beer left over in your fridge, right? You know, that 6-pack?
How do you know what I've got in my fridge? I don't even remember having that myself.
Oh, I swapped some fish sausage from there. Don't worry, I left one for you.
Jesus. Has this girl even heard of the word restraint? Oh, I suppose I already know the answer to that. I open my fridge and find a barren wasteland, devoid of any form of sustenance. Scratch that, it's actually not as bad as I thought it'd be. There's that 6-pack of beer she mentioned, the 1 fish sausage, and a pack of sliced cheese. If I combine these with the snacks Takia and Io left last time, I could probably whip up a platter of canapes. Alright, I should be able to... I glance at the clock and the plan I haphazardly threw together disappears along with the hours that have already passed by.
What's wrong? Is your fridge cleaned out? Wanna go out and buy something then?
No, there's only an hour left until the last train.
Don't worry, I won't blow more than 3,000 yen on snacks.
That's not the problem here. If we start drinking now, does she really think she'll be able to go home in an hour?
Fine then, I'll split the bill with you for today. You don't see a woman who'd pay for her own celebration party every day, now do you? Has your impression of me improved a little?
Izumi, now that I think of it, she did mention something about sleeping for 24 hours, didn't she? Does she really plan on staying over again tonight?
Alright, give me a second to get ready. Oh yeah. While we're there, why don't we get some more beer?
Well, I guess this was to be expected. She did produce results, and I never clearly said no to begin with. Izumi, then.
Chuha, cocktails, and a few more cans of beer should do it. Should we get a bottle of wine too?
It's about time for you to head home. I need to clearly say no.
But the party...
The last train's going to leave soon. If we start drinking now, you won't be able to head home, just like last time. Who cares if I go home or not? I care. You have to go home.
But I stayed over the last time, didn't I?
It was 1 a.m. back then, and it's only 11:30 p.m. right now.
But I'm super tired. I can't move another step.
Weren't you all raring to head to the convenience store just now?
I can't move further than 1,000 steps.
Don't just change that bit. Go home.
Why? Why are you being so cold all of a sudden, Haruki?
I feel a bit bad for your parents, Izumi.
If you're worried about that, then wasn't what happened last week already enough to apologize to them for?
Wait, nothing happened last week.
So, does that mean today will be different from last time? And you're planning to do something that you'll have to apologize to my parents for?
No, not a chance. Absolutely not.
Something about that response rubs me the wrong way, but I'll let it slide. So, why can't I stay over?
My left hand brushes against my cell phone. The name of the person whose dozen or so texts still lie there and wait flashes through my mind. If you really want to throw a party, why don't we do it at the beginning of next week, on the last day of the seminar? I'll treat you to whatever you want then. But I can't just say that. I can't tell her the real reason.
Okay, Yukina? I think that was her name.
After all, I did tell her that she didn't need to clear up any misunderstandings. Since I've turned down Izumi's offer to patch things up, I've basically admitted that it's not her fault. Don't just stay over at my place or crash at the university. Actually go home. Your parents must be worried about you, which means that if I tell her why I'm not letting her stay over, I'll bring up the issue of whether or not she was at fault again, just like last week. This concerns not only the events that 1 week ago, this concerns not only the events of that 1 week and how the two of us missed each other again, but also our current situation where we're trying to reconcile with one another. I'd be admitting that Izumi, each and every action has an unreasonably great influence on me right now. I'll walk you to the station. Come on, let's go. Izumi, come on. I pick up the coat that fell off her shoulders and put it on her again. Her shoulders, drooping and without a hint of movement, are almost enough to tell me that she hasn't accepted my explanation in the slightest.
There's no way my parents would be worried about me. They don't give a damn about what I do anyway.
The delay between my question and her answer catches me off guard, slowing down my reaction.
Wanna hear more?
No, not at all.
Sure you do. You wanna know more about why I'm so against going back home, don't you, Haruki?
She's at it again. Despite looking so depressed, she suddenly peeks up at me and stares intently in my wavering eyes.
Let's see. Oh yeah, my mother has been physically abusing me ever since I was little. My back's full of bruises and scars. Wanna see?
No, I'm absolutely sure you're lying. I won't tell you why, though. After all, you took your top off in front of me not too long ago. There's no way I'd forget that beautiful, silky, smooth back of yours so easily.
Fine. I was actually sexually abused by my stepdad.
If that's true, then it would be okay for me to head to your place and confront your parents about this, right?
But I have to take my living expenses and conditions afterward into account too. If you're willing to take care of me for the rest of my life, Haruki, then I suppose.
If what you said was indeed the truth, I'd do everything I could to support you using whatever means necessary. suing for damages, scholarships, and protecting her from possible slander from others in the event the news spread to the public, to name a few. I'd protect Izumi from any further wounds and do everything in my power to prevent her existing wounds from opening up again. Because, after all...
Sorry, that was a lie.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to the people who have actually gone through abuse like that, even if you're only apologizing in your heart. The odds of losing that gamble was ridiculously low anyway.
Come on! You know so much about me already, Haruki. What's this? Are you that interested in me?
Come on, time to go. I'll listen to the rest on the way to the station. I swear, Izumi's house is somewhat far away, sure, but does that really warrant her acting like such a brat?
Well, that was more or less what I expected. I don't have a stepfather, and my real dad isn't around anyway.
Oh?
I live together with my mom, you see, and we don't exactly get along with each other.
Oh?
So I pretty much never sleep at home. I either stay on campus, hit up an internet cafe, or come crash at your place.
Don't make it sound like that last option is as common as the others. You only stayed over once.
I only go home to get a change of clothes, and I try to never stay there for more than an hour, since if my mom happens to come home, we just end up arguing.
But she's still doing the laundry for you, right?
The housekeeper does that. She comes over on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I try to pick those days to go home.
What's this?
Now then, what kind of retort will it be this time?
Why does it sound so unspectacular? So commonplace. Almost as if I'd heard it somewhere before.
Well, I'd say that, but that's about all I really want to tell you. An undramatic tale like this usually gets boring halfway through.
Now, never mind the fact that it sounds familiar. This feeling of not wanting to give up welling inside me is why her story makes me unnecessarily uneasy. My left hand brushes against my cell phone again. Since I told her not to stay up too late, I should at least report the progress of my paper to her before the date changes. No, it's not really because of any sense of obligation or anything. It's just that I have something I want to tell her. I'm yearning for a conversation, to be connected with her. Izumi?
Huh?
Still, I'm not sure if what I heard just now is the truth, a lie, or simply a misunderstanding. It was another bunch of thoughts she blurted out on a whim. You know, you really should. However, I'm sure the last train will definitely leave if I keep listening to her. And I won't be able to tell her to go home or anything similar when that happens. In that case, I should talk with her a little more. It's 11:55 p.m. right now, and I'm about 80% done, I think. So, I'm sorry. I don't think I'll be able to finish the paper today. Or rather, I'm certain that I won't. I'm sure I'll have to work through the night, too. I won't be able to reply to your texts for a little while. Sorry. We had a lot of leeway in regards to the theme of the paper, so it's certainly a piece of cake, like you said. But I might have bitten off more than I can chew. I ended up wanting to put this and that into my paper, and before I knew it, I'd already put a ridiculous amount of content in. Can you believe I'm the same guy that's always trying to tell others to act within their limits? Anyway, I'll stop here for now. I'll work hard to become worthy of your congratulatory text tomorrow morning, Setsuna. Actually, if I don't have it finished by tomorrow, I'll probably not be able to advance to the next year. Good night, and tomorrow, for sure. Sorry, Setsuna. No matter how much time passes, people always tend to ramble on and on whenever they're trying to lie. That much is a fact. People who lie ramble on and on because they're trying to convince you that they're telling the truth. Whereas if you're telling the truth, you just tell the truth and let it stand because it's true. I was supposed to use these texts to bring us back together, yet I'm using them to betray Setsuna once again. I guess I really can't stay with Setsuna.
And now, for tonight's lovey-dovey text messages.
Ugh!
Come on. Let me see your embarrassing texts, Haruki.
If you know they're embarrassing, then don't peek. They're covered by the bath towel, but I can clearly see them swaying back and forth.
Stop trying to hide it.
You're the one who should be hiding something right now, Izumi. Why does this woman always make a joke out of all of my moments of regret and conflict?
That felt good. You should hurry and take a bath too, Haruki. I'll be waiting out here to toast with you.
I'm fine. Just start by yourself. I won't be drinking.
What? We finally managed to put an end to that painful battle of ours, Haruki, and you're already thinking of declaring another war?
I did say I'd talk with you some more, but I never said I'd do it while drinking.
A man and a woman by themselves in the middle of the night. If they're not going to drink, then isn't there only one thing left to do?
Yeah, which is to talk. Don't peek, okay? But for a moment, and just a little bit, I felt like I couldn't bring myself to make Izumi go home, for whatever reason.
It was about 3 years ago, right when I was about to enter university.
I see. Her parents divorced right before she entered university.
Well, I wasn't a kid anymore, so I didn't really make much of a fuss about it.
It's not really anything that rare, nor is it anything that shocking. Something you could find anywhere in this world. Yeah, I had a friend whose parents stuck together for the kids, like through high school, I think. The wife found out the husband was cheating when the youngest child was like 12. So they stayed married and acted like functional parents for another 6 years or so. And then they got a divorce once their youngest daughter was in university because they didn't want to screw up their kids. And then when their kids were out on their own and all of that, they filed for divorce. Now the tricky thing was that the two of them owned a business together, so they still had to work together, but that was just business and they made it work. I'm a little surprised about that, but it worked.
I wasn't okay with it or anything, but it's not like I was under the impression that I was being abandoned either. I wasn't that delusional.
Yeah, I can't say if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But regardless, the world is still spinning, and children are still growing older.
Actually, on pretty good terms with my dad, but I don't get to do much more besides having a meal with him every once a month or so.
Izumi says she's living with her mother right now.
On the other hand, the person who got legal custody over me is getting on my nerves more and more with each passing day.
That's also fairly common in divorced couples. The person with custody has to be the lawbringer and has to punish the kid and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the other parent can just pop in, dump a bunch of gifts on the child, and disappear, and not have to deal with any of the consequences. So they seem like the nice parent, whereas the one that actually has custody and has to actually look after them is the evil authoritarian parent. Not saying that's all the cases, it's just a common case. Still, while she addresses her father properly, she seems to utilize all sorts of roundabout ways to refer to her mother.
Every time we get together, they start arguing like crazy right in front of my eyes. It does get annoying, but sometimes I actually feel sorry for them. Since my dad wasn't around most of the time, I believe the tales about his supposed affairs or relationships with girls at work and whatnot.
This is another common effect. The one that isn't around also can get vilified by the caregiver. And then they are the evil one. Parents shouldn't manipulate their kids in the first place. I'll just put it out that way. I see.
And then, after the divorce, she directed all the energy normally used to argue with her husband on me. She's so annoying, unbearably annoying. I don't want to deal with her at all anymore.
But she might still be trying to do what's best for her kids. Like, just because she's trying her best to do what's right doesn't mean she's good at it either. So, mother could love her daughter and want to do the best by her and just is doing a bad job because maybe she didn't have a good mother either and doesn't know how to be a good mother. Like, yes, it's her fault, but she might be trying her best too. There's always two sides to a story. Actually, three sides to the story. Your side, their side, and the truth. Izumi.
If I come home late from a party, she spends a whole hour asking what I've been doing. If some guy calls me, she forces me to explain in detail who he is and what his relationship with me is.
Her mother might see a lot of her husband in Chiaki and might be trying to correct that behavior type of thing. At least she asks for the relationship and not assume it's a guy she's sleeping with or something. So, could be worse. But, like, she asks questions, she doesn't assume, so I've seen worse parents in a visual novel. The little incidents involving her mother that Izumi's telling me about just keep getting more and more twisted.
She'd never had this overprotective tendency in the past, but now she practically jumps on me the instant she sees an opportunity.
Yeah, she might just be trying to prevent her daughter from turning out like her father.
She probably doesn't think it would have such an effect on me, but it's getting so annoying that I can't help but feel like this.
These twisted thoughts of hers have no way of straightening themselves out. They can only string together one twisted thought onto another, and further deform beyond repair.
And when I think back to the divorce now, it's like no surprise at all that my dad left her.
In the end, the daughter that decided to unconcern herself with it all, and the mother who couldn't do anything other than regret her daughter's decision, formed this relationship you could find anywhere in the world. It's the exact opposite in my case. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Are you on good terms with your parents, Haruki?
Am I? I can't really tell, honestly. I haven't talked to them in over a year now.
Do they live far away? Huh? But Haruki, didn't you go to Hojo High?
It's about 2 stations away from here. I could even walk there if I wanted to.
So why are you living all by yourself like this?
I happen to earn enough to rent a place for myself.
That's not what I'm asking.
Then tell me, if you could earn enough money to sustain yourself, would you still stick to your current lifestyle?
Guess you have a point.
That's why even when I got accepted to Hojo High, and even when I got the highest score on a test, my parents never praised me.
Never gotten any grades worthy of being praised, so I can't say I really relate to what you're saying.
Oh, don't most parents, even if their kids barely pass, are like, well, you passed, that's a good job. There are some parents that are like that, I guess. Some that are not. Some that are like, you got a 99? Why'd you get this one thing wrong? Didn't you get accepted to our university?
That was more or less a miracle. Yeah, that alone was probably worthy of some overwhelming praise. But it was just around the time when my family was starting to fall apart.
Well, that's the gist of it. Our situations started out pretty similar, but we branched off in completely different directions after that, didn't we? Our initial conditions were about the same, and even the feelings we harbor towards our parents are roughly identical. But the difference between how emotionally distanced we are is staggering.
Even so, in the end, we're more or less the same. Pretty funny if you think about it, huh?
I'm not sure if I can bring myself to laugh at something like this, though. But it's just as Izumi says, it doesn't matter if it's near or far. If that distance isn't exactly what it should be, the end result would be the same.
Which do you prefer, Haruki? Being too close together or being too far apart?
Why are the only options the extremes? But even so.
But doesn't find a happy middle ground sound too small and too unambitious of a way of life?
I've been unambitious for as long as I can remember. That's why safe and practical choices were the only ones I could make.
That's rich, coming from a spoiled rich kid from Okayama.
I'm only realizing it now, but I think I might have said too much today. I really shouldn't have told you that. You're only allowed to bring that up as a joke once a month, at the most. Got it?
You're not gonna ban it completely?
I'm simply aware that there's no point in trying to aim for the impossible. But, what was I supposed to do?
Should I be grateful for your kindness? Or should I get mad at you for belittling me?
As if you've ever been grateful to anyone for anything. After all, this woman, who's lying on my bed and staring at me before my very eyes, has told me so much about herself already.
As you wish. I suppose I'll get mad then. What an awful man you are, Haruki.
Change that to person, would you? I don't remember hurting you in any way only a man could. Having elaborately explored the history of her family without hiding anything whatsoever, I'm starting to feel conscious about the slight unfairness of it all.
So, basically, you're gonna do it now?
Good night. I always wake up at 6:30, whether or not I have something to do. And I'm not exactly nice enough to make sure not to wake anyone else up, now that I think about it. When was the last time I even talked to someone about myself?
I haven't woken up in the 6 o'clock range in years, you know.
You'll be able to participate in those early morning cardio calisthenics you haven't done since elementary school. Isn't that great? Then...
Wait a second. Let me just make sure of something before you fall asleep.
If I recall correctly, I told that girl, which is why I couldn't keep it a secret from her. What do you want now? I'm already half asleep.
You're too good at falling asleep?
You have 10 seconds. I'll pass out if you take any longer.
Well, you know, the paper's done, so I don't really have any reason to keep coming here anymore.
Ah, are those days from 3 years ago coming back to me yet again?
But can I still come and hang out?
Just make sure to leave on time next time. I must have cleared countless unthinkable milestones back in those days.
Don't worry, I'll be on time. I'll be gone by the time the first train arrives.
Actually, just don't come back. When will I finally be able to put those broken fragments of my memories back together again, I wonder? In the end, even though I made such a firm declaration, it was already noon by the time Izumi and I managed to wake up. Mostly because her wanting to make sure of something ended up leading us into reminiscing about our childhoods. By the time I could finally close my eyes after making sure Izumi was asleep as well, the winter sky had already been lit up by the morning sun, and it was already far past the time I usually wake up. Izumi lazed around my room for some more after that, eating the lunch I made and even stealing some of my share too. It wasn't until the sky had been soaked in crimson that she finally left my apartment. Thanks to Izumi, my long-awaited day off came to an end before I knew it. Her cheerful parting words of what a valuable waste of time that was felt utterly superficial. I wonder if I'll ever be able to feel the same way. December 19th, Sunday. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
For our morning shift, Nakagawa-san, Shimamoto-san, Iyama-san, and Sugira-san will be manning the hall. Shimoto-kun, Hattori-kun, and myself will be in the kitchen. The members in the hall can take turns taking break after the lunch rush. The kitchen staff will have to wait until the other helpers arrive. Okay, that concludes our meeting then. Everyone, please return to your posts and begin the preparations for today's opening. Sugiura-san, could you restock the condiments and napkins for the tables?
Floor manager?
Yeah?
May I ask if these are all the members that will be working here today?
I suppose. We're always short on people, really. So, you'll need to put in 110% too.
I don't think that will be much of a problem, but...
I see you're as confident as always, Sugiura-san. I'm a little surprised after the battering that Kitahara-san put you through.
Yes, about that?
About what?
Is he not coming?
Who? Oh, Kitahara-san.
I haven't said anything yet, though.
You had hurry up and notice it already written all over your face. So, why do you look so annoyed when I finally bring it up?
There was no such thing written on my face. Also, I've had this look on my face ever since I was born.
Even though you'd be so cute without it, too. What a waste.
I'm not interested in that kind of thing.
We haven't really heard anything from Kitahara-san.
I see.
Besides, We only dragged him here to supervise your training, Sugiura-san. Now that it's over with, there's no real reason for him to come over anymore, right?
You seem awfully indifferent about all this, floor manager. Especially after all the stuff you had Senpai help you out with.
Kitahara-san's about to go job hunting soon too. We can't just keep calling him back here all the time.
That's true, but...
Anyway, forget about those little details. The restaurant's about to open.
Little details? That idiot?
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The feeling of completing a big project. It's a big relief once it's handed in. And there's still the worry about how it's going to be graded. But at that point, there is nothing more you can really do about it. So you can just relax. And wait until your mark comes back. You can kinda see why some college students turn to drink, can't ya?